So, I'm having technical difficulties here. Yeah. Yeah. Come back. There we go. Alright. So, I don't know. I did my makeup weird tonight. I got a lot of things on my mind. I'm going to combine my music and my thoughts in the same video, right? So, I'm going to play a Grateful Dead song. It's called Liberty. And the lyrics are really powerful, like most of their songs were. I fell in the rabbit hole last week. I've been watching all these blogs and YouTube talks and everything. Some of them I really like, and some of them I'm listening to just for the point of view. But the one thing that reminded me of is religion and dogma. Like, everybody's got to think the same way. And it seems to be something that's happened since, like, cumulative effect since post 9/11. You know, it seems like more and more, it's like you have to agree or you're the enemy, or you're hurting people, or there just doesn't seem to be any more like, we can't disagree and be friends. We can't disagree and be coworkers. We can't disagree and go to the same mosque or temple or church or spiritual outing, or be in the same group of friends, or it kind of reminds me, like, so I'm newly trans. It's 7 months living as a woman. And I was very firmly for 50 years cis heteronormative. I was the kind of guy that other men either resented or admired, and women either hated or wanted to sleep with. You know, um, I enjoyed being cis. I had lots and lots of sex. Um, but now that I'm trans, even though all kinds of things are changing about my brain, my identity, everything else, one of the things that hasn't changed is a lot of my opinions about different life things after 51 years of life, you know? So use an example. Like, I've been watching the whole trans thing, and, I keep watching all these videos where people get singled out, and people get called homophobes and transphobes and enemies and hurting trans people, and it's like, you know, um, here in the Twin Cities, I taught martial arts at the college for 10 years, and at one point they decided they were going to unisex bathrooms for the trans issue, and trans and non-binary issue. And a lot of us said, this is not a good idea. The way they implemented it, they put up the gender-neutral bathroom, and they put locks on the inside of the doors. And we said, this is not a good idea. And lots of us got called transphobes, and we weren't targeting the trans people. We were talking about the reality of predators in the world. There are predators in our community, and the college sat right downtown on Hennepin Avenue, downtown Minneapolis, right on Loring Park, where a lot of the mentally ill, homeless, sexual offenders, everybody. So what happened? Several instances where somebody waited for somebody to go into a bathroom and went behind them, locked the door, and then assaulted them. And then they went back to boy and girl bathrooms, or the ones that they did have that were gender neutral didn't have locks on the inside anymore. And it wasn't because we were homophobes or transphobes. It was because the reality of the situation is, it's like, it's like there are predators in the world. Nobody was saying that the trans girls or the trans boys or the non-binary people were the predators, but we were saying this is just a bad idea, right? Um, and it turned out to be a bad idea, and they nixed it very quickly because people got hurt. You know, but a lot of us were called names because of it for being the voice of reason. And like I can't tell you how many times. I had a martial arts student, and his girlfriend was trans, and I pretended like I didn't know. I treated her just like a cis girl, you know, and I helped them move. I ate with them. I gave them things out of my apartment, even though I was poor, because they were starting out and needed stuff, you know. And I was saying something about some of these issues one day, and after class, my student took me to the side and was like, "Yo, man, I'm kind of heated." He's like, "Man, I love you, John." Well, I love you too, Arthur. What's up, man? Why are you mad, man? I can tell you've been mad for like the last hour. Yo, man, my girlfriend's trans, and I don't like the tone of some of that stuff you were saying. I was like, bro, I know your girlfriend's trans. Dude. She thought she was passing, and nobody was clocking her. And I mean, maybe a lot of people didn't. I don't know, but I'm above average intelligence, and I'm highly perceptive. Um, and I knew from the moment I met her, you know, that she was a trans girl. I could tell. I looked at her like I look at everybody, and I summed up my conscious and unconscious and intuitive and rational thoughts and went, boom, A, B, C, D, E, in order who this person was. I do that for everybody. Uh, it's an awareness thing, Like I know what's in my environment. I know when cars pass me twice. I know when I see a face twice. I know when somebody's acting suspicious. I know, I clock my environment all the time, continuously. Have a continuous mental map in my head of everything going on around me. Smells, sight, sounds, intentions, looks on people's faces, behaviors, repetitions, patterns. I clock it all. He's like, oh, mm-hmm. I was like, yeah, baby, I knew. He's like, you acted like she was just a regular girl. Well, she is, isn't she? She identifies as a girl. I was like, how else was I supposed to treat her? Treat her any other way would have been just disrespectful and discriminatory, And it's just weird, you know. That I could say something about these bathroom issues or some political issues or common sense issues, and you get labeled a transphobe. He's like, well, I'm thinking about transition too. And I was like, baby, you do you, Arthur. I was like, I love you, man. I've been telling you I love you for a few years now, bro. I was like, I will love you no matter what you decide to do. As long as you ain't no pedophile or serial killer that might put a little damper on our relationship, I mean, just saying, but short of that, I got you, babe. He's like, really? I was like, yeah, don't expect me to date you, though. I was teasing him, I was like, because you got me one ugly girl, bro. But I was only fucking with him. But, you know what I'm saying? But, I mean, he had a moment with me where he realized that I loved him. And I knew all along she was trans. And the community, the college community, and the black community, and people had demonized this poor young man. And I never said nothing. So I figured if he wanted to talk about it, he knew he could talk about anything he wanted with me. So I waited for him to be ready to talk to me. You know? No, I just kept treating him like I treated him. It was Arthur. And what's her nuts was his girlfriend. They were a package at that point. They were in a relationship. I hung out with them. And everything was cool. So she put her hands on him. And he was scared to go home for 2 days because she had tried to kill him. And I was like, you tell that girl, she puts her hands on you like this again, I'm gonna beat the brakes off her. For real. I was like, she ain't fucking with my people. I was like, you're my people. I love you. You know? And this is messed up. You know, and I don't know what happened after that. I lost track of them because we got in this big argument on Facebook. Because once again, I was me. I do and say and think what I think because I believe in freedom. And I believe in following my own path all my life. I've been an outcast no matter how closely I've been with any group. Because there's always this point where I diverge. I'm like, no, this ain't right, man. It don't make no sense. And I'm not going. It's not for me. I'm not doing it. I'm not thinking like this. And here's why. I think it's wrong. And I get told I'm a retard or reject or, you know, I'm just all these things that are substandard and, you know, something wrong with me and, you know, and no matter the consequences, I've done it. I got banned on Grindr last year. The gay police came for me. Told me I needed to tone it down, stop being such a slut, and blah, blah, blah. I needed to explain myself. And I was like, Kid Rocks. I was like, I'm using my phone I bought. I paid the bill on. Sitting on my couch I bought. The whites I pay for. My apartment I pay for. And whatever I do with another consenting adult or adults is none of your business if I'm not doing it with you or in your house. And then people complain they got me banned. I wasn't doing anything illegal. I'm not a sex worker. Not buying, selling, manufacturing, or distributing contraband or drugs or anything. I was just having fun exploring my identity and having sex. And I did it in such a big, epic, free, slutty way like I'd done all my life. You know, people call me a slut all my life because it's this man. And I was like, well, it's Tuesday. Sure, we ain't doing nothing. Let's have sex. Sure, why not? You know, nobody's gonna get hurt. No animals are getting harmed in this production. You know, like, if it's groovy, let's do it. Consent. I said this over and over to people. Consent is respect. Right? Call and response. If I call and you respond, we're there. Right? Like the preacher. I get an amen. The congregation's like, amen. They're not like, well, let's negotiate about where you coming from, Pastor Man, before we give you this amen. That's call and response, right? That's what consent is. Consent is basic respect. If I say, this is what I want, you're like, oh, man, that's great. That's consent. If I say this is what I want, and you say, no, I'm not really down, and then we start trying to pressure and argue and negotiate, that's no longer consent. It's manipulation. It's blackmail. It's emotional pressure. It's narcissism. It's all kinds of mentally harmful things to the human condition. It's no longer freedom. It's no longer a resounding call and response and consent that involves self-worth and respect and love. You know, and your politics are the same. You know, if I got to agree with you to be a valid, living, breathing human being worthy of love, friendship, and affection, there's something wrong with how you're doing things. You know, And I just gotta be glad that I don't live with you. You know, when I talk to people and we're talking about love, sex, friendship, you know, I tell them two things: be disease free and be nice to me. Because I don't like anything that makes me sick or makes me sad. And I'm not just talking about sex, I'm talking like COVID, the flu, hepatitis, you know, whatever. Don't make me sick and don't make me sad. You know, no is healthy, just like yes is healthy. And respect is key. Respect is key to consent. It's key to equality, to compassion, to love, to functioning. You know, I was talking to my friend earlier, talking about stealing and how, you know, it destroys trust and, you know, different things like the basis of human society and relationships is trust, respect, fairness. They try to teach most of us this stuff in kindergarten. It goes in one ear and out the other. And we pay lip service to it, and we make sure we don't get caught being bad, and then be heinous and evil to people. You know, but somebody like me comes along, I just look at you, and I'm like, I got 10 toes down, sweetie, and who's gonna move me? You. I'm not your prisoner. You can beat me, you can torture me, you can put me in a cage, you can kill me. I'm still not your hostage. Because you can't take away my dignity, my freedom. It's something I own in my being. Something I fought for all my life. Kicked down, abused, shamed, shunned, excluded, because I wouldn't conform. You know, by my own person. You know, that mostly worked out my ethics and my rules. You know, I'm having to work out my identity and who I am as a girl. Now, this is the craziest transformation I've went through in my life. I've went through a lot of transformation journeys. My whole life's been a transformational journey. You know, but it's about love. It's about potential. It's about what we could be. And we won't get there. You know, all jokes included, until we can hold hands and sing Kumbaya together. Or Hare Krishna, or, you know, whatever. You know, the look of his all my relations were all related. We're all stuck on this spinning blue ball, and we're all made out of the same matter, the same closed system. We get asteroids and shooting stars and stuff, meteors, but everything that's here has been here for millennia. Babies are made from our bodies. Our bodies are made from the earth. We eat the plants, the animals, we absorb the sunlight and the water and breathe the air, and it's all recycled. And we hate each other. And we hate when people won't conform. It's like hating your foot and beating it with a rock because it's a 12 and you want it to be a 10 and a half. How does it make any sense? So, I saw a lot of really good stuff this week. I saw a lot of really good podcasts. But I also saw a lot of things that made my heart hurt, made me want to cry. Because it's like, once more, here I am, happy, ecstatic, want to make friends, want to be friends with our trans girls. I don't agree with the politics. Hell, even the LGBT movement, man, I can remember living in the Brownstone neighborhood in my early 20s in Spokane, Washington, growing up around drag queens and transvestites and living in houses full of gay dudes and going to drag shows and gay bars and hanging out with people, and there was never this hatred. You didn't have to be gay to be cool and kick it. You didn't have to be an ally. You didn't have to be a fucking human being. You know? And stuff's just gotten worse and worse. You know? There's nothing wrong with politics. Nothing wrong with lobbying, educating. But when you start calling names, handing out hate, and acting like people are immoral and not worth being human because they don't agree with you and your platforms and your visions and your ideology, you know, you're missing something. You're not any different than the holy rollers that want to pray the gay away at that point. You've decided somebody's an abomination and that they must conform or wear the scarlet letter and be burned at the stake. That's just not cool. Anyways, I love this song I'm going to play. It's called Liberty. Right? I was going to use a pick, but I think I'll just. Saw a bird with a tear in his eye. Walked to noise, my oh my. Said, hey bird, wouldn't you rather die than walk this world when you were born to fly? I was a son, I'd look for the shade. I was a bad child, surely stay unmade. If I was a river, I'd run up. You know me, and know I will. Oh, baby, love, you know. Oh, listen up, I cry out liberty. Oh, no, won't you leave me alone? Tell you why, 'cause I'm gonna find my own way home. Said I'm gonna find my own way home. The problem with me is I don't give a damn. Take that to the bank, baby. Believe I am what I am. Come now, Dad, come and take my hand. Whole lot shaking all over this land. I was dressed like a duck. If I was a lizard, crawl I lost that. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, this land. I was an eagle. I dressed like a duck. I was a lizard. I crawled like like a duck. Down and you know I just butchered that whole second line. No, said freedom. Oh God, God. Oh no, to believe it. I'm by my way. I'm by my way. Went to the well, but the well was dry. So I dipped my bucket in the clear blue sky. Looked in the bottom, baby. What did I see? Whole fucking world looking back at me. That's that whole steal your face off your head thing. No, you know. If I was just spill for love, sick of my baby, I would die for love. If I was alive, I'd die for love. Sick of my baby, I'd die for love. Sick of my baby, I'd die for love. Oh no, say no, freedom. Oh my God, beauty. Oh, by my own way. By my own way. 'cause I don't give a damn. I do believe, baby, I am what I am. Come now, Daddy, come take my hand. Oh, I'm shaking all this land. I was an eagle, I walked like a duck. I was a lizard. I'm still messing it up. Okay, so here it goes. Like an ocean, I climb this tree, chop it down, and you can't stop me. Hear me? Chop it down, but you can't stop me. One more time now. No, said not free. It on. Oh, God, I cried. Leave me alone, 'cause I'm gonna find my own way home. Lord, child, I'm gonna find my own way. So, I'm gonna keep finding my own way home. Someday I'll be there with Jerry and all the rest of the cool cats. Someday. Someday. You don't have to worry. You know. In the meantime, I'm gonna keep trying to love people. I'm gonna love myself. I'm gonna love my life. I'm gonna have these little conflicts sometimes because I'm just, I tell people to kick rocks because they don't own my heart, mind, or soul. And I'm not a cookie cutter. I don't belong to the Church of Trans. There's no dogma, no application, no dues, no membership fees, no bylaws. You know. And if you don't like it, you can do what everybody else has done all my life. You can talk bad about me. You can defame my character. But at the end of the day, I'm one of the most righteous cats you ever gonna meet. For real. I'm not always nicest. I don't always say the politically correct thing or the most uplifting thing, but I generally don't do people wrong. I generally practice compassion. But I do have good boundaries. I'm not afraid to speak my mind. And you can't scare me or shame me or guilt me into conforming. Because fear, shame, and guilt don't work on me, and they never have since I was a child. I was born that way. I was an odd duck, where most of you are afraid. I'm curious. You know, I generally don't feel guilty about anything. And I generally am not afraid. I generally burned out all the shame I had a long time ago hanging out with hippies and nudists and swingers and, you know, taking LSD, talking to God and kissing the sky, you know, that line, you know, dip my bucket in the clear blue sky. Whole world's looking at me. But, you know, I think that's why the government hated LSD so much. It really, hallucinogens really alter your framework and put you in another place. I'm gonna keep rocking it. I'm gonna put this one on Facebook too because I think this is something that is pertinent. All this exclusion and hatred, and enemies and allies, and I never heard the word ally till post 9/11 at some point. We were just people. You were friends or not. You were cool or you weren't. You were ate up with hatred. Or you could kick it because you were cool. You know? And at the end of the day, that's basically what human bonds in society and friendship are about. And about getting along, having a good time, and telling jokes, and having fun and good experiences and memories, and creating bonds that strengthen us and improve us and everything else. You know? And if you focus more on what other people think and what they're doing wrong and how they're hurting you and everything else, you might want to adjust your framework or get right with your Jesus or your gods or whatever. You know? Because you got the wrong framework for a happy, self-actualized, fulfilled life. You know? Don't say there's not pain, there's not heartache. You know? I've cried more in the last 7 months since I became a girl than I have probably in the last 4 decades. Like real talk. You know? This is what it is. And I don't know. I think I'm giving up being a slut. This guy. You know, I said, oh, yeah. I experience things every day I never thought I would experience until my time. I'm sitting around waiting to hear from a guy, which just kind of blows my mind. I swore I wasn't gonna feel this way till at least another year. But life has definitely changed for me as a girl than was as a boy. I'm feeling all kinds of things that mystified me. Like, girls all my life, like, look at girls like, what is wrong with you? It's what's wrong with me now, too. Let me tell you. I apologize to God for disappointing him and not being good enough for him the other day. Before I could even think about it, I sent the message. And I looked at it and was like, what are you doing? And now I want to cry. So I'm thinking about how I was feeling about this message I sent. And I was hurt that I wasn't good enough. And I had these feelings. But it really tripped me out because I was like, you never in your life once apologized for not being good enough for somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, crazy days. Crazy, crazy days. You know? Anyways, babies, be good. I hope that if you're out there, I hope that your hurt gets better. And I sincerely hope that if you're listening to this, or if you've been caught up in all this anger and hatred and polarization, this self-consuming war that we found ourselves in as a society on an interpersonal level, I really hope and I pray that you find a way back to love and compassion and be able to agree to disagree and still love people. You can still love people even if you're not alike and you don't agree. I mean, love isn't selfish. Remember that. It's not selfish. You love because you love for the sake of loving, not because somebody meets your approval. You love because you love. Love's the force that binds us all together.